what it is. So Fresh and Fit. This situation, and just a disclaimer, I'm just speaking my opinion. At the end of the day, we don't know what conversations were had, closed doors, except for the DMs that were leaked, all that stuff. But long story short, Fresh and Fit, the kind of pioneers of those podcasts where they just bring on Instagram models who are not really, for lack of a better term, paid to be these great scientists or philosophers. Their job is that, to be models. And this content became pretty popular in 2021 and onward. And I think it's just become a new counterculture thing that's going on. And look, I understand what they're going for with the content. Do I think that sometimes good points are made on these quote-unquote red pill channels? Yes. If you look around at the structures of society, you look around at the structures of the dating market, it's a disaster for a lot of men and women. And I'm of the mind that I think both men and women have had a part to play in this. And it's times like this where not so much the story about what these two have gotten into, but the divisive reaction where it's almost like people are even harder pressed to the camps of both men and women are at this point. Because obviously, those who have channels who absolutely hate Fresh and Fit are having field days right now. And they're going to make video after video running this into the ground. And then you're going to have the defenders. And look, I get it if you like the content. But, you know, the thing about the red pill community online that really grinds my gears sometimes is they always like to use, you know, and not all the time. Sometimes it's always different. But they always like to use religion and God as a weapon. Like something that is kind of like their forefront. Like, we're the ones speaking God's truth. But then they go out and then they break God's truth. And you could read the scripture if you want. I'm not hyper religious, but I do have religious affiliations. I try not to make it my forefront on the internet, but you know, I did get rebaptized back in 2021 when I came to an actual understanding of what God was, and I came to that decision on my own. Now, am I going to try and convince anybody? Well, if you want to have an honest discussion, let's have a discussion. Why not? I think that it's worth being had. If you want it. If you don't, I leave it. But that being said, when I see people use that as like their crutch or their weapon to the point where they can do no wrong, and they could criticize the sins of others and then ignore the sins that they commit, I think that that's atrocious. Because if you're religious, or if you claim to be, you know, you should probably hold yourself to a little bit higher of a moral standard. And you can obviously tell that if they ever use like God or scripture as a weapon on their podcast again, it's going to ring hollow to a lot of people. And I just don't understand why, you know, kind of. I just can't be of the mind where I could defend them at this point. There's a lot of antics that they've pulled that are just kind of like, okay, you're just doing it for edginess' sake. And that's the thing with the counterculture to all this PC stuff is it's just nonstop edginess that's not very intelligent either. Next to this hypersensitivity that a lot, like, there's no balance anymore. You don't see men and women going up and both saying, hey, you know what? Maybe there's some things we could work on. I've had bad relationships. I've been hurt by women. I've been the problem in certain relationships where I have hurt well-meaning girls. I mean, I never cheated. I could say that. But that doesn't mean I didn't have other flaws that affected relationships where had I not been the one to drop the ball, I probably would have been happily in a relationship or maybe even married today. But you know what? I got to take accountability and live with that one. But I think that's like the main purpose about this whole situation is the haters are going to hate harder and the lovers are going to love harder. Because I've seen so many different takes, and one by this one dude who I forgot who it was. He had some pretty good viewing on his video, but he was talking about loyalty. And, you know, how it's good that those two are loyal. And yeah, you know what? Loyalty to your friends is a good thing. Betrayal has been a recurring theme in my life from best friends, partners alike, and I understand what it's like to be stabbed in the back. Nobody likes it. But I have also retracted loyalty when I've seen friends make the same mistake over and over and over again and continue. And I usually get a second opinion with my friends. Like, because I always bring it to the front first, so I'm not saying anything behind their back, but I will get a second opinion saying, am I just tripping or is this what's going on? If I get a second opinion, I usually get more validated, and that's happened more oftentimes than not. In high school, I was part of a friend group that, you know, I did that with pretty much everyone in the friend group, but everyone was breaking the bro code. Everyone was breaking the rules. And for good reason, I'm not loyal to any of those guys now because eventually they turn the tides on me and they try to stab me in the back. So, you know, to the guy who is preaching loyalty to a fault is also another thing. You don't owe anyone everything in your life. Now, obviously, I believe you should keep your word, practice principles, but it's almost like the same thing with the divisiveness of this topic. Why can't men and women honestly just both say, hey, you know what? Maybe neither of us are perfect. We're all human beings. Because I still have a lot of sympathy for a lot of the lost men in today's generation. They're trying to figure it out. We saw how our parents were doing it, and then we realized it's not in the books for a lot of people. So yeah, of course you're going to be looking. And a lot of them are working out. You know what? Go work out. Be the best looking dude you can be. Max out at the gym. Max out your finances. Max out your portfolio. Like I said, there's not a lot of the things that these guys preach. I could say, you know what? Good on you. But like these scandals right there, that's where the loyalty breaks. And I say, look, brother, I'm saying this as a friend. You cannot be doing this and expect people to take you seriously. Because, of course, a lot of the people flocking to this content are hurt, scared, confused. But how long until you have to take accountability for your actions? Obviously, you know, extreme ownership could be bad because there's a lot of people who want to take advantage of that stuff. You know, they're always looking for the person who takes accountability so they can put more of the responsibility on. So you should be aware of that. But like I said, everything in life is a balance. That's what I feel like, honestly, a lot of the lost people need nowadays. Accountability mixed with self-love. Saying, hey, I don't deserve this, but I can improve in these areas. Because there are also women who support the red pill and its stuff. Because they don't agree with the Instagram model lifestyle. Some of them want traditional families too. Some of them want good husbands. Some of them want to raise their kids. Just like some men just want to party all the time and be the male version of these Instagram girls that they're condemning. But that's the thing. Are you really about living a based, responsible life? Or as an individual, are you just mad you don't have the spotlight? Just something to think about. But that's just my take on this whole thing. It's a little bit of all over the place. But this whole scandal just kind of brings about what I'm seeing. You know, you can't just blame men for everything, and you can't just blame women for everything. You got to share it. You guys got to, when men and women work in unison, we're really awesome. But I've lived with some very irresponsible men to realize a lot of you guys are not responsible Christians like a lot of you guys like to say you are. And I've actually had some friends who are women tell me about their dirty laundry. Let me tell you, that kind of lifestyle, don't be surprised, if one day you end up alone. Because, your intentions will come out. What happens in the dark always comes out in the light. You can't fake it till you make it, because if you fake it long enough and you don't make it, people are going to realize you're just fake. That's all I got to say about this. I will see y'all on the next one. Peace out.